Tracy here. Today I thought I'd share with you how I do my paper piecing on digital images. I had made this card for my design team, Little Blue Button Stamps, and this is Olga's image, and I had been asked on both blogs if I could do a video of how I paper piece. I did a little bit of a written tutorial, but we all know if you see something, it's easier to understand it. I'm going to use one of Olga's images for this tutorial, and the first thing I do is I print up my image on just regular photocopy paper, and I do this for a couple reasons. One, I want to make sure I get the right size, and I'm not very technical. I've said that before. I'm not too good with the computer, but my printer has a few different options of sizes I can choose from. So I just click on that size and then I print it up, and I hope it's the right size that I want, because I don't know how to make it larger and smaller besides these standard sizes. So I print it up for that reason, to make sure I get the right size, and so I have a base of what to attach my paper piecing to. So the first thing, like I said, is I just do it on regular photocopy paper. I don't want to waste any of my Copic paper if it's not the right size. And then the next thing I do is I use a piece of Copic paper to print it on. Now the thing with that is I don't usually print up a whole bunch of images on one sheet. I just never do that. So I will cut the Copic paper down to size, and I will adhere it on top. This one's been printed already, so I just adhere it on top and then print it through. And then it comes out, and here it is on the Copic paper. And then the next thing I do, I did another photocopy just so you could see. The next thing I do is I will take pieces from the paper, whatever papers I like, I think that'll go well with them. And I usually search in the back. I have little envelopes like I showed you in my paper video. I have little envelopes in the back I put the scraps in. So you can, as you can see, you can use some really tiny scraps. So I cut the scraps to size, and then I just place it on top of there and put a piece of paper, or put a piece of tape on there, and then I print it through the printer. And as you can see, here are the pieces. Now you have to remember that when it prints on the actual tape, it's not going to dry. Your ink isn't going to dry, so make sure when you pull it off that you don't touch the ink, because you'll spread it on there. So there you go. There's her dress, and here is the cupcake, the top of the cupcake. And like I said, remember that ink, if you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's a shine on it because it's still wet. I don't know if it'll ever dry on the paper. So, and then you just peel it off, and you just want to make sure that you don't put your tape where your image is. And if you do, you can just take one of your black markers, one of your black Copic markers, and outline it. So that is the next step, and then I fussy cut the images out. Well, now that I have completed coloring in my image, I could now adhere my paper pieced pieces onto the actual image. And as you can see, I didn't have to color anything here because that's being paper pieced. And I went over on her hair bow, not a big deal, because I decided that I wanted to add a little hair bow to match her dress. So how I adhere this little pieces on Zig 2-way glue pen, because the tip is pretty fine that I can get glue in tiny areas or little pieces like this. I'm not going to have any trouble getting a little bit of glue on that bow, and it's not going to make a big mess. So I'm going to adhere these pieces, and then I'll show you the finished image. Here is the completed colored and paper pieced image. And another tip I'd like to share with you, and I've shared it on some of my card videos, is I also like to shade my pattern paper that I pieced on here. We put so much effort and so much work into coloring our images that sometimes if we just add the paper without shading, it looks a little flat. Whereas when you add the shading, it makes the image flow more, and it looks like the pattern paper is supposed to be there. So this is how I paper piece my digital images. I know there's a few steps to it, but I hope that you will give it a try on your next digital image. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a creative day today. Bye now.
Every second there's a second chance. I know that there's a problem in my head that I just can't seem to let go. that time doesn't hesitate, and our hands won't slow